And this week, we're going to look at all these comics! Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, and no, I haven't gone absolutely crazy mad at the local comic book store this Wednesday and buy everything that was on the shelves, but I am going to be doing something a little bit different today. I got 5 comics this week, and instead of actually reviewing the comic, because we are kind of coming to the end of the year now, I thought for the 5 comics I got this week, I do kind of like an overview of what has happened in those titles over the past year. So it's a little bit different. I hope you like it. Right, so Indestructible Hulk came out this week with issue 15 wrapping up the Agents of Time storyline, sort of. But right back at the beginning of the year, this series actually started. Mark Waid came on board with artist Lionel Yu. I think Marvel was hoping that Mark Waid would kind of sprinkle his magic fairy dust on the Hulk like he had done with Daredevil, and make this a little bit more of a cult favourite that Daredevil has become. And it did start out with quite the interesting premise. We had him now working for S.H.I.E.L.D. Basically, S.H.I.E.L.D. said, we'll let you use all our science tech and use your amazing mind if we can use the Hulk to do all the kind of the heavy grunt work, the drop him in the middle of all sorts of craziness, and basically use the Hulk strength, which worked for a while. And it was fun because he had this science team and they all had kind of dubious backgrounds, and that there was the thought that there might be a traitor in the midst. And then we got to this point where they discovered how to use this portal. And we then got on to the great Walt Simonson on art, and we ended up in a land with Thor in it, who didn't know who the Hulk was. So we knew this was kind of a time travel deal was beginning, but we didn't know it was going to last so long. And this is where I think Indestructible Hulk has kind of lost its way with all this time travelling business. It did feel a bit like Avengers Forever, sorting out timelines, them crisscrossing, things happening in them that would have made the future or our present not like it is now. And I don't know whether Mark Waid's heart wasn't in this, but it doesn't have the same feel as, say, like Daredevil, unfortunately. We've had a few different artists on the title. Like I said, to begin with, it was Lionel Yu, who was incredibly patchy. He doesn't know how to draw big action scenes without making them look so chaotic that, you know, it's a struggle to see what's going on. Walt Simonson came on for a little bit, so you had that kind of nostalgic feel. And then mostly for the end, we had Matteo Scalera, which has been serviceable. It's nothing been outstanding, but that's who we've had to continue this run. Along the way, we've had cameos go through from Daredevil, again trying to throw Daredevil in the mix because he's kind of like a fan favourite at the moment and doing so well in his own title. Obviously Thor was in there, Black Knight showed up for a little bit. I don't know how long this title is going to last. I know it kind of links in soon with the next, I guess, Marvel event, which is in Humanity. But to be honest, I think I'm picking this up because of the completist in me now. Wouldn't really recommend it unless you're a huge Hulk fan. And on to Animal Man, issue 25 came out this week, and there isn't really much to say about this issue apart from the ending, which seemed to be pretty epic and finally piqued my interest back with Animal Man. Okay, Animal Man, it's kind of, we finished off the crossover with Swamp Thing and the whole Rock World event, which was really good. I really enjoyed it, but it was like, where do we take it from here? And I think this is where Lemire kind of slipped up. Whether Swamp Thing was lucky in the sense that it had a new writer on it, so Charles Soule had a lot of different ideas that he wanted to take Swamp Thing in. Animal Man seemed to kind of lose its way, and I guess it got caught up with the whole death of Buddy Baker's son, the splitting up of his family. Animal Man has always been a kind of very, at its root, a family orientated book, which is all fine and well, but you need to do something with that family apart from just split them up, have one person, i.e. Buddy Baker, just being the kind of anguished father losing son, making bad decisions, and kind of coping with it all, which we found in annual issue 2 that came out this month. The thing that they've done with Animal Man, which is kind of not upset me, but I know we're in our new 52 and they've all got different origins, is that now Animal Man isn't the real avatar of the Red, it's his daughter Maxine. And I'm not really digging Maxine. Although she must have this power, she clearly isn't using it, and we're not seeing her being trained so much in the use of it. So the book kind of gets hooked up this year with the idea of celebrity, and you've got the paparazzi and award shows and the like, and it wasn't until very near the end where this storyline about the Red and the kind of divide there is in there and the traitor amongst the past avatars, I guess, the totems, and finally we got the baddie of the arc, which was Brother Blood. Here we go. Art-wise, we've pretty much had Steve Hugh all the way through the year. At the end, we've just got Raphael Albuquerque, whose touch isn't as imaginatively horrific as, say, Steve Pugh and Travel Herman was, but it suits the title, but I kind of miss Steve and Travel working on the book. Animal Man, it was a big favourite of mine when it came out. I'm hoping with this ending of issue 25 there's going to be a really interesting and exciting storyline to grab me and pull me back in. We got Daredevil issue 33 this week, kind of wrapping up this 2-issue, I guess, storyline with a kind of team up with a kind of Legion of Monsters, and it's kind of good, to be honest. Not reaching the heights that Daredevil has been this year, but let's go right back to the start of the year. The best thing about Daredevil is it's not afraid to throw some team ups in the mix, and we've had Daredevil having some cameos in with the likes of, here we go, Octo Spidey, because that's what he was at the time. Silver Surfer has been in there. We've had, you know, the villain Bullseye making an appearance, and obviously in the latest issues the kind of Legion of Monsters deal. Basically, Wade and Samney have been waving their magic wand and keeping that magic going that has made Daredevil a lot of people in our community's firm favourite, and I don't blame them. And anyone who hasn't been picking this up, well, you better hurry up because it's ending. While there was still that feel of, you know, that kind of Silver Agey kind of adventure goodness, which partly was Chris Samney, the artist's fault, which is a good fault. Mark Waid just brought bags and bags of emotion in this this year, especially when we found out that Foggy Nelson had cancer. And really, how is that storyline going to play out? I'm going to say I wasn't the greatest fan of Chris Samnee, and I was hoping that maybe they change the artist, maybe just now and again, but his artwork has definitely grown on me, and you can't imagine Mark Waid doing this book now without Chris Samnee. As I said, it's not long to go. This volume of Daredevil is going to reach issue 36, and then it is ending. It's the end of Mark Waid and Chris Samnee on Daredevil. There is no solicits, as far as I know, for a new volume as yet. There were no new creators to jump on issue 37. So hopefully Mark Waid and Chris Samnee go out on a high. I don't think this book really has had many low points. Maybe this kind of last storyline with the whole Son of Serpents hasn't been developed as well as I'd have liked to see. Maybe now, because they knew the series was ending, they kind of had to rush it just a little bit. Chris Samnee's covers on the title have been amazing. If you haven't picked this up, go look out for the back issues, or if you can't find those, definitely worth picking up in trade right from the beginning. Okay, issue 25 of Batwoman, and it was a 0-year tie-in, which was bad enough. And it also saw our first issue with Mark Andreyko writing. J.H. Williams has now left the building. And really, when you're picking up from such a phenomenal run, at least art-wise, and I'll get to that point in a bit, you want your first issue to absolutely hit home. And whether it's unfortunate that Mark's debut landed on a 0-year tie-in, this did not make an impact at all. It was very, very, very average, unfortunately. But let's go back to the start. And when I was doing this overview and writing kind of notes this, I tried to remember the storylines, probably just from the covers or just from memory. And of all the titles that I picked up this week and all the notes that I made, Batwoman was actually the hardest one to remember what actually happened. Eek. That's not good. We started the year off wrapping up the team up with Wonder Woman and her battle in Gotham against Medusa, and still trying to rescue those damn kids. And from then on, I had to open these up and have a look to see what actually did happen in Batwoman this year. We had Batman make appearance from here and there. We had the reveal that her sister, Bette Kane, was still alive, and it was kind of the DO's blackmail of Batwoman so she could see her sister and hopefully have her released from DO care. And using this kind of blackmail tool, Batwoman was assigned to get the identity of Batman for the DEO. There was a lot of stuff in there about the relationship with Maggie, them moving in together. Of course, there was a kind of hoo-ha about the fact that DC won't allow them to marry. Not really that bothered, to be honest. And that's really all I can remember, and from the quick flick-throughs of a couple of issues, what actually happened in Batwoman. And it's not to say that Batwoman is a bad comic. And I do have to say, when I'm reading comics, you know, people go, do you buy comics for the story or do you buy comics for the artwork? Now, I have to say, predominantly, I'm a story man. Obviously, the artwork has to be there, otherwise you just read a novel. Why would you pick up a comic book? But this was, at least for this year with J.H. Williams on, was definitely a book to be buying because of the artwork. J.H. Williams, eccentric, extravagant, imaginative panelling throughout this. Some issues were like works of art. They were beautiful. So definitely a book if you are a lover of good artwork. Blackman, who was also on the title, doing some artwork, you did notice when it was him rather than J.H. Williams. Even though he tried to kind of ape his style, it just wasn't the same. But obviously we have a ton of artists on this one. I'm hoping better things to come for our new writer on Batwoman, leading us to some exciting areas of Batwoman's life. My final comic this week is, of course, Fables. What am I going to say about Fables? I think anyone who's been watching my videos for a while know I'm a huge fan of Fables. So I'm not going to be saying a lot that's wrong with this. But issue 135 came out this week, continuing the Camelot storyline. It is ending though. It has been confirmed. Issue 150 will be the end of Fables. That is a dark, dark day. But we've got a couple more years, I reckon. At least a year and a half worth of Fables to live with. But let's go back. It's strange because Fables has really only had 2 storylines this year. The first one was Snow White, and as the kind of advertisement for it was given, when you have a storyline named after your own character, you know something bad is going to be happening when you are the absolute focus. And yes, Willingham and Buckingham have been on this book since practically, well, they have been since the very beginning. Took us on a little bit of a ride. Snow White, we find out, was actually betrothed to another. And that she really shouldn't have married Bigby, and Bigby's marriage is kind of not null and void, but Snow White is magically, I guess, in that kind of area, it's a big no-no. We, of course, had the tragedy that became Bigby, her husband. She was locked up in a magical tower, and eventually she had to come out all guns a-blazing to sort out the situation. The great thing that the second storyline is still going, and that's the Camelot storyline. Rose Red is gathering or trying to create the kind of Knights of the Round Table, and at the moment she's kind of in the trials period where everyone who wants to be around this round table is gathering, and I guess there's going to be a test or a competition involved. They did have a single one-shot kind of story in the middle of these 2 story arcs, but the thing with Fables is, as much as kind of Willingham maybe digresses, or you just get a snippet of a story within the story arc, they are not wasted moments. They are always tied up, or they will be tied up. Nothing is wasted. Every word they say matters. Every scene you watch matters. And that is just the magic and wonder of Fables. There is so much in here. And it will be heartbreaking come issue 150. I would have liked this series to go on forever. Even if Bill Willingham didn't want to write it anymore and he gave it to someone else, I'd be happy for this to keep going. It has been my favourite long-running Vertigo series for a long time, and yes, it's finishing with 150, but please go back, pick up the trades, they are so worth it. And I guess that's me finished. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little kind of retrospective of a few titles that I've been collecting and picked up this week. A message out to people who have been asking. Yes, I will be doing, like I did last year, the YouTube Comic Book Community Awards. A video for that and all the categories will be coming up probably the beginning of December, to give you time to get your votes in and for me to make sure you can get the votes in through my inbox like you did last year. Don't know now with Google+, but we'll have a look. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. If this is your first time here and you don't want to miss another video, hit the subscribe button, and of course, as always, put some comments in the box below. Let me know what you've been reading, what you thought of the series that you've been reading over the year. And until next week, take care, goodbye.